Hey guys, Ike here from Mike'sOutdoors.com. I'm here today to do a broadhead test on the Grizztrick Grizztrick 2. This is a pretty cool looking broadhead. I really like the design of it. The design looks awesome. This has got an 1¼ inch cutting diameter and 4-blade broadhead, 1¼ inch cutting diameter. But the blades, you can see they're pretty short and they're pretty wide. So the ferrule in the middle has got a good, it's almost shaped like a rocket the way it comes down and flares out at the bottom. So a really cool looking design to it, and really nice cutting diameter, 1¼ inch. Quality made products. The blades are made in Germany, which they are knife grade Mercedes blades, super steel ferrule, stronger than titanium. We'll find that out. We'll see if that's true. But really sharp right out of the box. Just really sharp blades on these things. So really like that out of the box. No nicks, no gouges, nothing like that out of the on the blades. Everything looks really good. I really like the design of the tip as well. It's got a slender, small profile to it. Comes down to a point, and it's not a point. Doesn't look like a point. It's going to bend if it hits bone. Look like it should push right through it. Cutting diameter on it, that 1¼ inch, is pretty impressive as well. Recently we went on a hog hunt, me and a couple of buddies, and one of my buddies actually shot these broadheads, and he put a shot on a hog, which we'll put the picture up here, and I warn you, this is a little bit grotesque, so if you're weak stomach, pause or skip or whatever. But he put a shot on a hog with these and really put a massive hole in this hog, and you can see this hole, man, it put a heck of a hole in this hog, and the hog, he made a marginal shot on it, but the hog was definitely dying. The hog was bleeding out, and it put a really good hole in there, and I'm really impressed with that. So the one thing, I like the way the blades lock together. Now you got two different blades that it comes with. One's got a slot on the lower side, and one's got a slot on the upper side. So it's got a slot on each side of the broadhead. When you put your blades in there, you put one blade in with the slot on the lower side. Your next blade's going to come in and it's going to actually lock up in there. Now what I don't like, I like that aspect of it. What I don't like about this broadhead so far is it's got a ring on the bottom, which is a metal washer is what it looks like. It's a metal ring. And when your blades lock in there, they come down and have a piece that this metal ring slips over. And that's what keeps it together. So if this thing gets loose from your arrow, those blades are going to rattle. I'm not a big fan of that design, and maybe it's not going to be true with these broadheads. We'll find out. But I've had them in the past come loose on me and get out to your tree stand and you miss a blade or something like that. So I'm not a big fan of the blade locking system of this broadhead, because if it's not super tight on your arrow, which you can put a broadhead wrench on there and you can tighten it down pretty good, but I'm not a big fan of the way that locks together. But we'll test this out, be objective about it, and we'll see how well it holds up through the day. I did put a broadhead wrench on there, and I did tighten it down pretty hard. So, that shouldn't be an issue with it coming loose. But until we start shooting, we won't know. So we're going to do some accuracy tests on this thing. I got a bow that's broadhead tuned and ready to go. So we'll do some accuracy tests with this thing out to 40 yards. And we'll do some penetration tests and some destruction tests and just kind of see how it holds up. But the way it handled the hog that Corey shot, I was really impressed with it. Now the bow we're going to be using for this test is the Bowtech RPM 360, and the reason I'm using that bow is because it's broadhead tuned and it's ready to hunt. So I should be able to just put this thing right in the bow and should be just hitting the kill area of the target every time with it. Shouldn't have a problem with it flying. The other reason I'm using that bow is because the way it's set up right now, it's getting 72 foot-pounds of kinetic energy, which is enough to kill any North American animal, elk or whatever, and it's enough to take down a lot of the big game in Africa. It's kind of on the borderline of that. 72 foot-pounds would be better if you had about 78 or 80, but on the scale, that is on the lower side of enough to kill just about pretty much any animal out there. So if there's a penetration issue, it's probably not going to be the bow, probably going to be something to do with these broadheads. But we'll put it through some tests and we'll see how well this Grizztrick 2 performs. Okay, so obviously I was wrong with my initial thoughts. My initial thoughts were that because of this broadhead, the way it tightened down, it wouldn't be very tough. I was wrong. That's the best broadhead test I've ever done that involved a brick. That is the best results that I've ever got. You can see what it actually did was force the head and the insert all the way back into the arrow, and the arrow is actually splintering out. But the head actually has all 4 blades still on it. One blade has broke. You can see it there, but it was still intact, and the other 2 are actually still in there and still pretty solid. So you can see what it's done to this arrow. I mean, this arrow is trashed. But the broadhead, considering that I shot it into a brick, is in pretty good shape. And I'll tell you that another thing that I was really impressed with was the accuracy of this head. All those shots that you've seen were taken from 20 yards. The initial shot on the blob target into the tape was taken at 20 yards, and then the second shot was taken at 40. And so was the test on the gel and the foam and the carpet, and it put a very impressive hole in the carpet. So I was really happy with that as well. But you can see here, shot it through the plywood 4 times I believe, and finally I just decided it was still in really good shape, so I decided just to break out the brick. And what I was impressed about, one, that head is still in pretty dang good shape considering I shot it into a brick. The other thing is, you've seen in the video, the brick had that little white spot in there where it was full of masonry or some kind of concrete or something like that. That's what I was aiming for, and at 20 yards, I absolutely nailed that thing. Now, this broadhead's not big enough to go in that hole, so yes, it hit that, exploded that, and actually bounced back from the brick. But you can see this thing, I mean, it's bent up, it's broken, of course, but the ferrule is still intact. It didn't break the ferrule. One of the blades is still intact. Didn't break those. The other one only broke, about half of it broke. So pretty impressed with that as well. The durability of this head that's the most impressive head I've ever put through a durability test. That's just outstanding. The penetration that I was getting on everything, the plywood and everything like that was pretty good. Pretty impressed with the hole that this thing leaves too. Very impressive head. This is the Grizztrick Slick Trick 2, and Corey Johnson, who went on the hog hunt with us, we talked about earlier, is the one who actually gave me this head. So really appreciate you giving me this, Corey, and letting me test it. And this is absolutely an outstanding head. I am blown away with how good this head is. Just the flight of it and the accuracy, the damage it did, and the toughness of this head. I've never shot a head into a brick before and had it come out in one piece, which technically the blades broke, but usually you shoot them into a brick and the ferrule will break, as well as all the blades. And that's really what I thought was going to happen with this one, but it did not. And these Slick Tricks those are bad heads. I mean, really bad heads. So they are, that's pretty impressive. So for more information on this head and the other heads that Slick Trick has available, we'll put a link right here and a link in the description below. And for more product reviews, how-to videos, you can check out our website. That's ikesoutdoors.com. Appreciate you guys watching.